So going all the manner back to November of 2021, my concept method is now not modified. I said loads of human beings do not need to simply accept it. However, for a brand new device to be ushered in, the vintage one have to fall apart. A systemic surprise is boiling up for the global economy, and America maintains to permit the fuse burn via inflating the United States greenback. Crypto will rise as we march into a virtual revolution. And even over here, greater recently, going all the way returned to June 3rd, where a file got here out saying that the FDIC simply suggested that 63 banks are on the point of bankrupt fall apart. I quoted this and I said, records does not repeat, it rhymes. What's happening goes to make 2008 look small. I said it back in March of closing year, whilst banks first began to crumble, and I repeated it time and again into this year too. The banking crisis is handiest simply beginning. This will preserve to snowball into a miles large issue. But it really is the plan. We are witnessing the consolidation of all predominant banks in order that the large banks like JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of America, etc. we can consume their lunch. This is also forging the route through the overall systemic reset, which I even have outlined on many events. Okay, now with this in mind, permit study a few things occurring right now. US debt is simply hit $36 trillion, a brand new all-time document. The US countrywide debt has crossed $36 trillion simply months after surpassing $35 trillion in July. It's doubling down on its identifier as the biggest debtor kingdom in history. Key drivers: growing interest bills, ballooning social protection and Medicare value, and widening budget deficits. Federal interest spending now exceeds protection and Medicare budgets. Economist warns that the debt could hit 106% of GDP by means of 2027, smashing World War II era statistics. And that is very regarding, listen, this is a debt crisis. Whether or not you want to attempt spinning this some other way, we are inside the center of a debt crisis inside the US, which is clearly a ticking time bomb globally as the dollar remains the reserve currency. Now, as this does, you understand, get pushed, what else are we seeing? Breaking information: Texas proposes gold and silver subsidized currencies to compete with fiat money. Now we're speaking. Gold and silver-backed currency could be redeemable in specie or at spot fee of gold in as greenbacks minus relevant costs. Now, what's crazy approximately this is we recognize that Texas was starting to push this a bit in advance, lower back in, like the starting of the year. Many nations around the sector are truly pushing for gold-backed currencies. I do assume that that is going to continue to become a massive deal. I mean, principal banks were accumulating huge quantities of gold, historic amounts of gold during the last couple of years. And I assume that that is most effective going to preserve, especially as gold will become a much larger piece of the global monetary gadget. I assume that as we usher into the virtual age, we're going to see gold-sponsored digital currencies as properly, which we're going to speak about. But over right here, we have in my conversation with Judy Shelton. That's why I say we could, to me, doing the Treasury consider bond concept, and I must in all likelihood give up right here. But that I do speak at period in the book is a manner to signal pursuing the idea that Ronald Reagan expressed returned inside the 80s when he stated, except we've got some form of purpose backing for the dollar, we are able to, by no means, surely get our palms on inflation. And he stated, my purpose as president could be to make the greenback the maximum relied on foreign money in the international. And I desire our subsequent president will take that to coronary heart and pursue it using the reducing facet technology, very thrilling, which can be being superior today. And this is precisely what's taking place. Listen, blockchain-based technology is becoming adopted across the entire world. We communicate about XRP, we speak about Ripple pretty apiece because Ripple has been at the forefront of this variation. You understand, for properly over a decade now making use of the XRP ledger and XRP, but gold-subsidized currencies are going to play a big role. In reality, there was a document speaking approximately this, wherein we've got essentially tokenized gold, wherein you could fractionalize it into a distinct weight and that they revalue gold. So that exact weight has a specific price tied to it. And you then back critical bank virtual currencies or digital currencies, purchase that gold. Now, those might be in phrases of primary bank digital currencies. Retail wouldn't be touching primary bank virtual currencies. They may be the reserve currencies that those international locations use for short transactions. They may be the non-public, primarily based money. Public-based money could be stablecoins. And I find it very exciting while we begin to pay attention, talks approximately, the Federal Reserve ought to now not create a primary bank digital currency, but we ought to have stablecoins. They're both the equal precise component. The handiest distinction is that one is issued out with the aid of the Federal Reserve. The alternative one is issued out by personal-based businesses, but they may be nonetheless programmable. Ripple and Stellar, American Department of Treasury. Now, I believe that Algorand changed into here as properly Circle become right here, and also Chainlink, however this happened back in April. This changed into at a roundtable discussion alongside Nellie Liang, Undersecretary for Domestic Finance, US Department of Treasury, and those were the discussions. Discussion on the technical and regulatory requirements for upgrading the legacy abilities of significant bank cash, exploring the capacity implications for purchasers, traders, and organizations. They also delved into a protracted term vision for the combination of CBDCs, tokenization, and stablecoins into the broader US monetary ecosystem, along with capability benefits for financial boom and resilience. So pay attention, the USA has already been planning beforehand, they were preparing for this. Now, how will we formally get, you recognize the old economic machine collapsed? And how did we officially get the big reset? Well, the elites were making plans this for a while. We've been hearing loads about Chinese hackers and the cyber conflict. It truly is occurring proper. For an instance breaking, Chinese hackers are equipped for cyber warfare. US cyber officers warn Beijing's hackers are deep in essential structures, electricity grids, water substances, even telecoms, prepared to turn the transfer if warfare sparks. So it feels as even though 2025 is the 12 months wherein we get a big cyber assault that's going to cripple systems, going to be pretty catastrophic. They even say right here that 93% of cybersecurity specialists and 86% of enterprise leaders trust international geopolitical instability is probable to lead to a catastrophic cyber attack within the subsequent years. Very interesting. Now, also, the World Economic Forum has been calling for a cyber pandemic. It's going to be a cyber assault. This is much bigger and much worse than COVID. But they have additionally been genuinely sort of hinting at cyber attacks for some time. This is going to return to May of this year. Global economic stability at chance due to cyber attacks. The IMF is warning us nicely. Here's what to realize, and even inside this, we've got cyber attacks in the monetary region pose a serious threat to global monetary stability. The economic zone is uniquely uncovered to cyber hazard and resulting losses, automotive primary disruptions. Cyber incidents may want to threaten monetary institutions' operational resilience and adversely have an effect on standard macroeconomic stability. So once more, that is the IMF. Any other elite company essentially tied lower back to the World Economic Forum saying, hello, we've got to put together for these cyber threats. There's going to be a cyber assault and it will be very large. But also recollect what those huge gamers were calling for. Here's the bias. The imperative financial institution of valuable banks lower back in October of 2023 by means of the manner undertaking Polaris high-degree layout manual for offline payments based around CBDCs. This is all digital. And even in here, they do speak approximately opportunity methods, making use of new age generation, the usage of blockchain DLT. And a whole lot of people will say like, oh, properly blockchain and DLT as soon as the power goes out, they're long past. Guys, a number of these networks can nevertheless run off of radio, transmission. So when we think about it, it is not all primarily based around power. It's not all primarily based around, you realize, energy. Even radio frequencies can nevertheless permit those networks to, continue to trade, retain to, be live and technique those bills. But why are they getting ready for offline bills? Even the IMF, September of 2022, taking digital currencies offline. Why have they been preparing for this? Well, it's due to the fact they are additionally getting ready for a cyber assault. It really is going to, you recognize, completely bring structures to a halt. So if we're considering this, if the elites have been pushing for a cyber attack, it really is going to, you understand, bring about one of these, certainly one of the largest catastrophic occasions in records. And now they are pushing for virtual currencies, which are going to be offline as properly. Does not that take us